Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're stepping completely away from the relentless noise of the external world, and we're going to dive into the profound reality of spiritual awakening. So, go ahead and take a slow, deliberate breath. We're going to examine exactly how human consciousness actually evolves, how it sheds its old, heavy layers, and what literally happens when you finally wake up to who you truly are. Now, I want you to consider this foundational truth. By practicing conscious and repeated meditation, you can transform into an observer. Listen, this kind of transformation doesn't just happen by accident. It isn't some fleeting, lucky moment of peace. It requires serious intention. It means sitting with yourself time and time again and deliberately choosing to step back from that rushing river of your own thoughts. And through this rigorous, dedicated practice, something absolutely incredible happens. You stop being the river and you actually become the one watching from the shore. You transform entirely into the observer. So what does this all mean? The crucial point is understanding exactly what this new state is. The observer is an awakened consciousness right there inside you. And when you step into this role, a profound mastery really starts to take shape. For your entire life, your physical body and your relentlessly talkative mind have basically been driving the vehicle, right? Your mind chatters, it worries, it remembers, it projects, and you've probably always assumed that chatter is, well, you. But the observer is different. The observer simply watches. And in that quiet, detached watching, you become fully aware of your body and your mind. And for the very first time, you master them. They don't control you anymore. You just observe them. Now, this progression doesn't happen all at once. It builds along a very distinct path. First up, conscious meditation. That's the deliberate act of just sitting and focusing. This practice inevitably leads into step 2, mastering the mind. That talkative mind literally loses its grip on your reactions and emotions simply because you're no longer fueling it with your absolute belief. And finally, that brings us to the third, most critical phase of all, the separation of identity. That is where the line between who you thought you were and who you actually are is fundamentally drawn. And when this separation occurs, another consciousness awakens within you, which becomes aware of everything. I want you to really let the magnitude of that statement sink in for a second. You aren't just upgrading your current mind. A completely distinct, awakened consciousness is coming online. It's this quiet, incredibly powerful presence that watches your fears, watches your joys, watches the beating of your heart, and it understands all of it from a place of absolute, unwavering stillness. Which brings us to a highly grounding realization. Your body and your mind will no longer be your identity. Think about it. For decades, if someone asked who you were, you likely pointed to your physical self or the stories in your head. But this awakening completely shatters that illusion. And this right here, this is the absolute beginning of true awakening. You realize with total certainty that your body and your mind are merely instruments you happen to be using. They are not you. You are the infinite awareness that's simply looking through them. So as this profound internal separation really solidifies within you, a massive ripple effect begins to change the external landscape of your life. It makes sense, right? When your consciousness changes, your deepest needs inherently have to change too. The entire architecture of your reality is being rewritten from the inside out. Let's take a closer look at how this evolving consciousness fundamentally alters your desires, your motivations, and even your deepest connections with the people around you. Honestly, this transition can be incredibly startling. Those old desires, the ambitions and material things you once aggressively chased, they might suddenly just lose all their gravity. They're just not interesting to you anymore. At the same time, your old socializations, those bonds where you used to feel a real sense of belonging, they might start to feel completely alien. You might find you literally have zero dialogue or common ground to share anymore. Bonds that used to be a source of comfort can suddenly feel highly superficial, meaningless, and frankly, profoundly boring. The resonance is just gone. And this brings us to a very heavy existential threshold. What happens when it seems you are gradually losing everything that gave you the passion to exist? This is a genuinely difficult, daunting phase of the journey. When the material goals don't drive you anymore and the social connections don't bring you comfort, an immense, echoing void opens up. It can feel deeply isolating. It feels as though the very passion that fueled your everyday existence is just evaporating into thin air, leaving you totally adrift in this unfamiliar silence. But the source material offers one singular, commanding instruction for navigating this abyss. You must be patient. Seriously, do not rush to fill that void with new distractions. Don't panic and retreat back into the old, comfortable illusions of your past. This emptiness, it isn't a malfunction of your awakening. It's a necessary clearing of the ground. You have to embrace the pure, unyielding patience required to stand in this quiet space without demanding immediate answers. And here is exactly why that patience is so absolutely vital. In the bed of these emptinesses and inner darknesses, new things and new subjects bloom that are much deeper and possess true value. This inner darkness is not a grave, my friends, it's soil. It is the fertile, undisturbed ground that is absolutely necessary for profound growth. All those old passions, they had to fall away and decay to make room for something far, far more magnificent to finally take root. Now, we're being guided out of that darkness and straight into the light of a new reality, the bloom of true value. What actually blooms in this quiet space is not fleeting. It doesn't depend on the unpredictable, changing winds of the external world. It is rooted entirely, deeply, in your newly awakened consciousness. Let's look closely at how this redefines the very nature of human happiness. See, your old paradigm defined your quality of life strictly by what you had. And that was incredibly fragile, wasn't it? Because it was based entirely on external possessions, job titles, and outside validations. But now that shifts permanently. Your new happiness is based on the unshakable reality of what you truly are inside. You are the observer. You are the awareness itself. And that is something that cannot be bought, it cannot be sold, and it absolutely cannot be taken away. Because of this monumental shift, your attention and your focus have become entirely directed toward your inner self. You've reached a state of true awareness, and the sheer beauty of this is the absolute security it provides. When your life and your happiness depend solely on what you truly are inside, no one can take this from you. No external circumstance, no unexpected crisis can reach in and turn off the light of your own conscious awareness. You have secured a deep peace that the world didn't give you, and quite frankly, that the world cannot destroy. I hope your inner being is full of light. As you walk away from this explainer today, carrying this silence with you, always remember that you are the observer. You have the immense power to step back, to completely master the chatter of the mind, and to patiently allow the true value of your existence to bloom from within. May you rest firmly in that awareness. The noise of the world is always going to be there, waiting for you to return. The real question is, now that you know how to step back and observe, who will you choose to be when you open your eyes?